Okay, we discussed about so many functions in our last session, and here we're gonna discuss about few more functions which will help you to retrieve the data as required. Like if you have some set of criteria in displaying the data, you can make use of these functions to achieve the requirement. We discussed about functions like parent, child, first sibling, last sibling, siblings, and we discussed about previous member, next member, which will help you to find out the member that you want to retrieve. For example, if you go for lag function, which we discussed in last session, it will help you in fetching the data and calculate, write calculations like variance, month-on-month variance, and year-on-year variance. Now, let's see. I'm writing a simple select statement. I'm taking only one measure on my rows, on my columns here. Come on. I'll take customer. I have lots of customers, so better I'll take a product. Or for simplicity, I'll go with color. Color on rows from cube name is the syntax of the MDX query. Now, if you see this, if you see the output is ordered based on the labels, that row labels. In our case, it is color. It is ordered based on color name, that is black, blue, gray, multi, NG, red, and so on till yellow. But by default, the measures are not sorted. Only the attributes that are there in your rows will be sorted. So how to sort the measures? Is there any function which will help you to sort the measures? Let's see the function. There is a function called order. Order will help you in sorting the data, the result set, based on the measure, whatever the measure you want to. For example, in this case, let me order the data based on the sales amount, and the result set that I'm expecting here is all the colors should be in order based on the sales amount. For example, if multicolor has more sales amount than any other, then it should come first. It should be displayed as in the first row. Now let's see the syntax for the order. Order, and you have to give the member, it's a level, whatever the level you want to order, and based on what the measure. And the third one is, it's not a mandatory one, you can give or not, if you have to specify whether it's ascending or descending order. And let's implement the same function now and see how the order works. Okay, I'm using the same query. Order of, this is the level I've given. Order the colors based on some sales or some measure item. In my case, it is sales amount. I want to order the data based on sales amount. I have given the sales amount as the second parameter, and as I said, the third parameter is not a mandatory one. If you don't give anything, by default it will take the ascending order. So let me comment out this line. I don't want to execute this, and if I run this, the data is ordered null 5106.319999 and so on, and if you see the output, it is ordered. And how to specify? By default it is taking ascending, no need to specify at all. And if you want to specify, this is where you have to specify whether it's an ascending order or descending order. And let me run this. You see the same output is coming. Why? Because if you don't specify the third parameter, then it will take ascending order. Now how to order the data? Order the color level data, sales amount, based on sales amount in descending order, in the reverse order to the what we are seeing on screen now. For that, I have to simply change from ascending to descending. So if you see, now it is in descending order. I can see the black on top and red, and its starting value is highest one, the black value is the highest one, and the red is the next highest, and the silver is the third highest. This is how you can sort the data in either ascending or descending order. It is not mandatory that you have to give only one attribute here. You can give a couple of attributes, like you can give product name and color, or customer and color. Let me give product name and color in this case. What it will become? It will become these two are of two different hierarchies, so it is a tuple. So let me keep this one in a tuple, and I want to order this tuple based on sales amount in descending order. If you execute this function, it will give you the same. And first it is ordering. One second. Okay, if you give the tuple here, it is not working. It is giving me a different order. The order is not based on the sales amount. If you want to use more than one attribute in an axis, for example, in our case it is on rows, but you want to order the data. The ordering of the data can happen only on one column. Let's say how to give this query now. The first thing what I have to do is I have to order the data based on the particular attribute that you want to order, sort. Let's say in my case it is products. If you run this query, it is ordering the data in descending like we have given that. And here you can give the other measure. You can cross join the output of the order with the other measure, so that the ordered output will be cross joined with the color. Now if you see, it is in the descending order. This is how you can give the order if you have more than one attribute in your axis. And if you want to give more than one attribute in your row axis, or more than two attributes, you can simply give comma, and you can give specify as many attributes as you want. The point that you have to remember here is order will work on a particular measure, and if you sort a particular attribute data based on a measure, and once you order the data, then you can cross join with the other attributes. And let's see one more query, very much similar one, but I'm not using an attribute in it. I'm gonna use a hierarchy item. Let's say we have a hierarchy here in the time, and let me take some English month name to order the data based on sales amount. In the first case, I used attribute level. Now I'm using hierarchy level, and let's see how this orders. This is ordering fine. Why? Because there is no. Oops, let me check that. This is not at all ordering fine. If you see, I've given descending order for this particular hierarchy level. I want the server to sort the data based on sales amount, but it is not ordering properly. If you see here, this is 17317 and so on. Here you can see null in the middle, and again you can see 676, which is greater than null after the null record. So it is not ordering. Actually, these are called breaker hierarchies, where you don't, these are break. This is not a continuous one. That's why this breaks a form. For example, if you have year-wise and quarter-wise, you have a hierarchy, year, semester, quarter, and month. If there is any breaks in the hierarchy, if there is no parent data, or if there is no child data, if any null values for the child, in that case, these particular ascending or descending will not work. What you have to use is, instead of ascending and descending, you have to use B ascending or B descending, which is break ascending or break descending. So this one will be helpful while sorting the data based on some measure, sorting at hierarchy level based on some measure. You have to go with B ascending or B descending, which means break hierarchy ascending or break hierarchy descending. If there is any breakages, it will work. It will sort the data in that case also. And these breakages will not happen in attributes. Why? Because attributes is a single level. They default all level and then the members of that attribute. But here it's a hierarchy. There may be a child for a few parents, and for few parents there may not be a child. So that means there is some breakage happening in the middle. So how it sorts is it will directly pull and push everything. I mean, first level it will sort the data and give it to you. For the second parent it will sort the data and it will give the output. And it will merge and it will give you as output, the final output. And that's why it won't be in proper sorting order. That's, and you have to use B ascending or B descending. B ASC or B DESC. Let me run this, and now it is in ascending order. So this is how you can sort the data using B ascending and B descending when the hierarchies are breaking hierarchies. Okay, now I'm showing this measure sales amount and I'm ordering the hierarchy based on the sales amount, and I can see the result. This is the result. Okay, it is sorting in ascending order. Fine up to here. Is it mandatory that I have to go with the same measure that I'm using in the columns? Absolutely not. You can. It's not mandatory that you have to use the same measure that is there in the columns which you are using to retrieve the data, which you want to show that particular value in the result set. You can use any hierarchy, any measure, not the one. I mean, not only the one what you are using in the columns list. You can use any other measure to sort a particular attribute level or a measure level. In this case, few scenarios will be there. I want to display the sales amount, but sort order by the tax amount. I want to sort the data by tax amount, but I want to show the sales amount in my output result set. So if you see, you can see there is some 50840 and so on. There is some, it is not ordered. The sales amount is not ordered. Why? Because I'm ordering the English month name hierarchy level using tax amount, not the sales amount. And if you use this sales tax amount in your columns and you're asking the server to display this one in the result set, the tax amount in the result set. If you run this, you can see this is ordered based on this tax amount. This is how you can order the data. And let's see, okay, I have English month name here. I'm not gonna use this from the hierarchy as I want to use year on the other part. So let me take the English month name here into the rows, and I don't need B ascending. Why? Because this is an attribute and there won't be any breakage for this hierarchy. So I can remove this. Now I'm taking calendar year in my columns. So now the query is cross join the columns calendar the attribute level members for calendar year with the two measures and show the English month name order by tax amount. This is the data that I am looking for. If you see the output, this is the months order by this amount, the sales sorry the tax amount, and order by the months. Sorry, order by years in the column. Displaying years in the columns. And here there are still some breakages in this hierarchy. So let me add this B ascending and see that the data is not, why the data is not ordering. Even I use B ascending, and the reason is it will order the data, it will check the data first for this English month name, and then it is splitting. If you see the ultimate go at the total at the end, if you add all these things and if you get the total at the end, then the values is in order. For example, if you see the sum, if you sum all these things, and the end, the total of all the year's September data is the topmost one, and the August one is the next topmost, and so on like that. I'm ordering the data and then splitting based on the year. That's why it is showing some nulls in the middle. And let's see how to order the data year wise. I mean, column how to order the data on the attributes which are used in the columns. Can we use that or not? We can use it, and it is damn simple as ordering the data in rows, how we have seen in rows. I'm using the sales amount as measure. So this is how you will get the data. You can simply sort the data. It is what I can say. It is not that you have to use the order on only the rows. You can use the order in columns too. So I'm specifying the ascending here. And if you want to get the proper value, then let me remove these either rows or columns, then you can see the data properly. For example, let me delete the rows in this case and see whether it is ordering or not. Let's see only sales amount. I ordered the sales amount 3697979. It is ordered the sales amount, and here in this case I am giving rows. I am taking this column order from this one, from the columns. Then again you can see the data that is ordered based on the tax amount. So when you add both the things, it will take the cross join and it will split in, and it will show the data in this fashion. Okay, this is how the order function works. Now, I've discussed so many things about how to use attributes and measures in rows and in columns and pull the data in different ways, and pulling the data, pulling the top 10 records or bottom 10 records using head and tail functions. And we have seen many other functions like lag, lead and all, descendants, ascendants and all. Now let's see how to slice the data, how to filter some records. My result set is too big now. I don't want this much. For example, let me take in new query window. I am pulling sales amount into my columns, and I'm taking customer into my rows. From cube name. If you see, the output set has something around 18,485 records. That's a pretty big output. So I don't want to show all these customers. I just want to filter some customers. And let's see how to filter the data, how to filter the result set. Let's see, I'm going with products and see how many products are there in my Cube database. And there are something around 505 products. Okay. How to see only a single product? Let's say in our case, AWC logo cap, the third one here. If I want to see only the AWC logo cap product data, then I can make use of where condition. How to give where condition? In the same way, what member you want to see. The member that I want to see here is bin product dimension, and products hierarchy, and what's my member, that is AWC logo cap. Okay, if I run this query, it is going to throw an error. The product hierarchy already appears in the axis 1 axis. This is the error that we have to keep in mind, and we have to be very careful while writing MDX queries. And this error is because of the same hierarchy, that is dim product.products is used in some other axis, and we use this hierarchy in dim product.product axis. So what we have to do, I want to filter the data, but it is not allowing me to filter. Okay, one thing I can do is I can remove it from rows and I can filter the data. If I run the query now, it is giving me the value of the sales amount of AWC logo cap. But my result set, I want to show AWC logo cap as my row label and then the sales amount. In that case, what you can do is you can just simply remove this where condition and you can replace this with the product that you want to see, like this. And what if you want to see more than one product? Yes, you can use any number of products here, like chains is one product, blade is one product. I'm calling 3 products data here, and as this all the 3 different products have the same hierarchy, this is called a set, and you have to represent it in flower brackets. Function F5. And this is the data. There is no item called chains. Let me try with chain again, whether it is there or not. Yes, it is, and the data is null. So this is how you can filter the data, and if you want to show the same attribute hierarchy level in your rows and if you want to filter, then this is the case. What if I don't want to see? For example, I want to see the products. Okay, so that's why let me drag these products here. I want to see the products, not all the products. I want to see the products that belongs to a particular category. Let's say the product category and category name. I have 3 different categories. One is accessories, 4 different categories: accessories, bikes, clothing, and components. So if I drag and drop a particular member, like it is coming the member like this: the product category dot category name dot ampersand of accessories, and you know why we are using ampersand. Ampersand refers to the key column of the attribute, whereas if you remove the ampersand, it refers to the name column. In this case, in the category name case, both are same. So even if I remove the ampersand, it doesn't make any difference. So now I want to filter, and I'm not using this hierarchy anywhere in my query. It's not using any other axis like column axis and row axis. So what I can do is I can make use of this particular member to filter the result set in where condition. Let me run this. It is giving me some list of products, that is 505 products. Actually, it's 504 products, one row for the sales amount. So there are 504 products, and let me run this. Now I ask the server to return the data, the products and sales amount, and the products which belongs to accessories category. And it is giving me complete 505 products. Does everything belongs to accessories? Don't think so. Why? Let me check whether I have relationship between these two or not. Okay. See, now when I run this query, it is showing me the products that has data, and it is 131 products. And when I add the where condition, that is imported category dot access category name dot accessories, then it is giving me only the products that belongs to this category name. And let me change the category name here. Now for accessories there is only 23 products which are data, and let me drag and drop bikes, whether I have any data for bikes category. Yes, I have some products and the products are 89, and you can see the sales amount of that 89 products which belongs to the bikes category. And in the same way, let me drag third one, that is clothing, and I can see 21 records, 21 products for this one with sales on. And in the same way, let me drag the fourth one, that is components, whether there are any components or not. There is no component, 0 records available. So this is how you can filter the data based on the third, the attribute which is not used in any other access. Okay, now I use either accessories, bikes, or clothing, or components. Is it like that I have to give only one product, one category name? What's the case if my requirement is to fetch the data of all the products which belongs to two categories, that is accessories and bikes? In that case, what I have to do is I have to drag and drop both. I have to make use of both the members, and as these two belongs to the same hierarchy, that is category name, I have to make it as a set. So I want to pull the sales amount of all the products that belongs to this set of categories. That is the meaning of this particular query. And if you run this, it will give you the output that belongs to these two sets, that is 89 plus 20 something or there. So it is giving all the products that belongs to both both the categories. Now let's see how to use and measure in where condition. Okay, if I want to see when the data is there for a particular measure, that is tax amount, then I want to retrieve the result set. If the tax amount is not there, then don't retrieve the result. And if I execute this particular query, then it is going to throw me error. Why? Because the measures hierarchy is already used in columns axis. If you want to use anything like this, if you want to pull the record that belongs to that has data for tax amount, then you have to remove the measures hierarchy from all other axes, that is columns and rows in this case. So instead of that, how to give a blank column? You can give a blank column like this. And if you run this one, then it will pull you the product which has sales amount. But as I'm not showing any measure here, it is retrieving me nothing. And so if you want to use measures as to filter your data, then you can make use of filter function, the function which helps you to filter the measures value, the attribute, the column axis value based on a particular measure that you want. Let's see how to write a filter condition, a filter function. Okay, my requirement is, as I said, that it should have the tax amount, that is tax amount is not equal to 0. Okay, in that case, instead of giving here in the where condition, let me take it into the rows using the filter option. Okay, what I'm doing here is I'm filtering the products. That is my requirement. I want to filter the products based on some measure. So what I'm going to do is filter function, filter these measures, filter these products with a particular measure, that is tax amount. Comma tax amount greater than 0. And let's see, it will give you the sales amount of the products where the tax amount is greater than 0. And let's see, by copying the same into columns, and cross check whether what we have written is correct or not. So for all these products, the tax amount is 0. And let's say when the tax amount is 1010.92, you have to get only one firm. Why? Because the tax amount is 1010.92 only for Classic West EM. And for the remaining, it is different, if you can see. Okay, let me give that here, where tax amount is equal to 1010.92. If I execute that, oops, I have not given correctly. Let me check that. What is the value that we have? Is it 1010.92 or something else? Let me cross check that. Maybe wrong here. It's 1010.92. Okay, correct. Then let me give them equal to, I think how to keep 1010.92. So when I give tax amount 1010.92, it is not showing the data, but and that is how you have to give condition checking. I think there is some blank or something in the value set. And let me try with the other one, that is sales amount, to compare what sales amount is equal to. I'm giving the same, which is having the tax amount of 1010.90, 12636.5. So if I run this, it is giving me Classic West EM. I think there is some problem in tax amount, that the amount has some blank concatenated either at the start or at the end of the value. So this is how you can check you can filter a product or any attribute that is there in your rows or in columns based on some measure. And this is just a simple condition checking that you can do using measures. I mean, not simple. It's not a condition checking. It's a filtering of data that you can do based on some measures. You can write complex filters. Like in this case, I'm setting it to 12636. I want to get where the sales amount is greater than 12636.5. In that case, what I have to do is just change the is equal to greater than. Now it will give all the values, all the products which have sales amount greater than 12636. And let me add one more thing to the condition. And where sales amount is less than 22636. If I execute it, I'm going to get few products which falls in between these sales amount, that is 12636 and 22636. Now what I want to do is I want to order the data. I don't know whether it is giving me the exact result based on the filter condition that I have given. So I have to check that. So how I can check that? I can check it by getting the order comma order by sales amount. I'm ordering the complete output of this, the filter part. There is a filter function implemented. I'm ordering the complete output based on sales amount. And I've not given anything, so by default it has to take ascending order. So it is starting from this, I mean greater than 12636, so 15360, and so on till 22595. It is less than 22636. Now for verification purpose, let me add equal to and check whether it is starting from 12636.5 or not. Yes, it is. And not only this, or not only of same measure, you can use some other measure also. And measures.tax amount should be less than what I can say, some value 10,000. 10,000 is too high, let me give 5,000. If I run this query, it is giving me this data where it is less than so and so, 5,000. Everything is less than 5,000. Let me write 1,500. There are very less number of products which has tax amount less than 1,500. That is, you can see hardly 3 here. So it is returning me the string. It is satisfying all the conditions what are given as part of the filter. So one is sales amount greater than or equal to 12636. So this is true, this is true, and this is true. When less than or equal to 22636, these three are valid again, and the tax amount is less than 1,500. If I give tax amount less than 1,600, I'm gonna get few more if there are any. There is one more record with the tax amount less than 1,600. So this is how you can filter the data. You can filter a particular product output, particular attribute output. You can ask that you can filter out the data. Instead of pulling all the records into your result set, you can slice it using the function filter. And filter is very useful function, and you use it in many places. Why? Because the data warehouse, even though it's aggregated data, you will have huge number of records. For example, you will have some dimensions with something around 3 crore records, that is 30 million records. So in that 30 million, why you want to show all the accounts data? You will filter out a particular account data, give me a particular account output. I don't want all the accounts. The logged in person is some XYZ and just give these details, his account details, instead of fetching all the data. Now let's see, this is fine. It is working fine, and I am able to filter an attribute or a hierarchy level, attribute level or hierarchy level, or a tuple or set. You can use a tuple or set here. It's not a simple number. Level you can use. You can use a set or a tuple here in the place of the first parameter. Okay. And in the second parameter, it is not mandatory that you have to use measures to filter your data. You can use attributes. And let's see how to use attributes. Now I don't want this order function because I'm not going to order based on measures, and I don't want to verify anything here. And hence I'm removing this. Okay, fine. I'm yet to write the filter condition using attributes. How to write filter condition for attributes? For example, if you want to write for category name, this is how you can use. You can write the condition checking for based on a member or any attribute level. You have to drag and drop that, and you have to check the condition. What is the current member? So the current member will give the member of the category name for the particular current row. For example, these 4 rows I have, and this product belongs to some XYZ category. So this current member will give, when accessing this particular row, it will give the current member as XYZ. The category current member as XYZ. If this row belongs to ABC category, then it will give ABC as output when you give current member. So what I'm checking is, I'm checking the current, whether the current member is accessories or not. If it is accessories, then display, or else don't display. This is the meaning. I'm filtering it out. I'm filtering where category name dot current member is category name dot accessories. Even though I'm not calling the category name in the rows list, still I can use it and I can filter out the data. And let's see whether it is getting filtered or not. And we have any filters here? Oops. Let me add the category name here. This should be as part of the tuple set, whatever we are using as the first parameter. Dot So this is my tuple, and I want to filter where category.current member is accessories. So this is how, if you see, you will get only accessories data. All these products belongs to accessories. And there are so many with null, so let me filter out the data, non-empty, and I will get the products which has category name as accessories. And see this current member. This is very important function. This current member will give what is the member on the row axis, on the axis for the particular attribute level. For example, if you see here, this is the attribute level category name, and it will give some values like accessories, bikes and all, but when the current member is accessories, then display it. And you can write complex queries like and dim products dot current member dot current member is, let me take some product that is TOURNG touring tire dot TOURNG TIR. So if I run this, it has to satisfy both the conditions, that the category name should be accessories in accessories, and the current member of the product is touring tire. So it is satisfying both the conditions, and hence it is written in this particular. This is how you can filter the data based on measures, attribute members. It's not, you can use combination, not only like you can use only either attributes or measures. You can use both in your filter condition. And see, we discussed about non-empty function earlier. So what non-empty will do? This non-empty will check whether the row is empty or not, and it will remove that particular rows, and it will return the data. And for example, let me remove this filter function from here, and hence I am removing this complete filter function. I think this is fine. Let me run and check. So this query is returning some 131 rows. And if you see that 131 rows, you have different products that belongs to accessories category and bikes category and clothing category. And what if I remove this non-empty? I'm getting something around 2017 rows, and most of the rows has null value for sales amount and tax amount. So this is how. For example, fine, this is working fine, and if I use non-empty, it is filtering all the sales amount and the tax amount. Where all the records with which has sales amount and the tax amount, or whatever the measures that you use in your column, the complete row, if it is null, then it will eliminate, the non-empty will eliminate that particular row. And in the same way, if you use it in column level, then if a particular column is completely null, then it will remove the column from the result set. That is how the non-empty works. The criteria that it has to satisfy is the complete row or complete column should be null to filter out that particular item, either row or column. Now there is one more interesting function, and I can say it's an important function, damn important function when you are working on performance. So if you want to improve the performance of the query, then that function will be very, very helpful. And the function name is nothing but non-empty again, but without any space between non and empty. Okay, and let me take one more measure which has some null values. Let me filter out the data here. First, non-empty. I'm pushing only I'm showing only non-empty records here. You can see it clearly. I filtered the data using non-space empty, and let me add one more measure, that is extended amount. Let me try with this. Even this one does not have any nulls. Very good. And let me add one more measure here, that is order quantity. Order quantity is good, it is unit quantity, and total product cost. I'm adding few measures to demonstrate how mainly the difference between non-empty with space and non-empty without space. It is having values. Very good. Let me drag unit price and total unit price discount package. I'm keeping this in list of columns. There is no records which has null. So let me write a calculated column or something like that to check this. Okay, let me explain you first how this non-empty works. This non-empty, this non-space empty will filter out all the records when everything is null. Let me take this one out and let me see all the products here. This is all the product data, and you can see nulls here. There are so many nulls. Okay. Now the new one, the next one, the non-space, non-empty without space between non-empty. How this one functions? This one functions in this way: non-empty. Okay, I can give tuple or set in the first as the first parameter. See, you can see the set here, and the second one is I have to give the set of measures. For example, if I give sales amount, it is just like filter. The only difference between filter and this one is the main difference between filter and this one is filter will accept, you can filter the data, you can filter the attribute value, the row items based on some other attribute. But here you cannot use other attribute. What you can use is only measures. And this one will filter when the measure that you specified as the second parameter is null. The second parameter means it's sales amount in this case. So if I run this query, it is going to give almost similar result. And the query retrieval is fast when compared with the other one. The main advantage of this one is when you have 1 million records, and in that one, if you don't want to display the records with the sales amount is null. For example, if the sales amount is null. Let's say I have data like this. This is null, and this one has value, and this one has value, this one has, and all the remaining columns has data. All the remaining measures has data. So if I use non-space empty, I cannot filter the record. Non-space empty will work only when the complete row of measure and the complete measures that are given in the columns are null. But my requirement is I may have null for sales amount. In that case, I want to show null. I don't bother whether it has value, tax amount or extended amount or order quantity, something like that. What I bother is whether the sales amount is null or not. So in that case, you can use without space empty, and you have to specify the measure, based on what measure. If a particular measure is not empty, null, then you have to filter the data. You have to provide that measure here, and you can provide many measures, not one. You can check the condition for a couple of measures, like if sales amount and tax amount is null, I don't bother about rest of the measures like extended amount, order quantity, total product cost, unit price, and unit price discount amount. I bother about these two. When these two are null, then there is no meaning for me to pull those records with these two measure values null. In that case, you can use non-empty. This is how it works, the non-empty function. And this is how you can filter the data. We discussed about few functions like non-empty without space to filter null records, null measure items. If any row has a particular measure item null, then you can use this non-empty without space, and you can use filter to filter the data, and you can use where condition to filter the data. We discussed about all these functions, and let's see about how to pull top 10 records and bottom 10 records. We discussed about one way of pulling the records, that is head and tail, in our last sessions. Now this is bit different. We're gonna use different function to pull the different sets. Whenever the requirement comes like you have to pull top 10 records, then you'll have two questions in mind. One is, on what basis I have to pull? Is it based on the name or the product? For example, if I have 100 products, and just get me top 10 records. I don't bother whether it's highest sales products or not. Just get me top 10. And the second case is, get me top 10 records with highest sales. In the first case, we don't bother about the sales, whether it's the highest sales products or not. You're asking, they're asking you to retrieve the top 10 records. That's it. In the second case, if they're asking the user is asking you to retrieve the data with highest sales. So for the first case, you have head function and the tail function to pull the top n number of records and bottom n number of records. And now let's see how to pull top n number of records based on some measure. So for that, let me use the sales amount as measured here to check whether we're getting correct values or not. Select sales amount on columns, and I'm taking product name on rows from the cube name. If you run this, it is giving me all the products. Now my requirement is to get top count. I can use head to get the top 10 records, but it won't give me the top 10 products with highest sales. So this is just pulling the top 10 records without any ordering of sales amount. Ordering based on a measure. It is not checking whether it is having the highest sales or not in this case. Now I'm getting head, and I cannot use non-empty here. I can use non-empty. In that case, it will pull the top 10 first, and then it is gonna filter. So I'm gonna get 3. Okay, you people, we can use head after non-empty like this. Okay, in this case, it will throw error. It won't allow you to write anything after non-empty. Now, how to get top 10 records without non-empty? So in that case, you can make use of the non-empty function without space. Now, what I'm doing here is, I'm just filtering the data first based on the sales amount. This function will execute first the inner function, that is non-empty, and then after filtering, I'm asking to get the top 10. Again, if you see, this is not ordered by sales amount. It is just top 10, but without blanks, without null values. So if you have null values, If you use the other non-empty function, it is not going to serve our purpose here. So try to understand the difference between non-empty and the non-empty with space and without space. This is the major one. You can use this function to filter the blanks, and this is a function. You can use it like this, and after that you can go for any other functions. But the non-empty, that if you use with space, they should be the last one, and there should not be any other function on top of this. Okay, this is head function. This is how you use head function. Now let's see how I can get top 10 records with top 10 products with highest sales. What I have to do? I have to order it first based on the measure. Comma in descending, not in ascending. In ascending means it will start with 0. So this is how the products are ordered. And then on top of this, if you use head, it is gonna bring top 10, correct? So this is how you can get top 10 products with the highest sales. This is one way. The other way that you can achieve the same requirement is, there is a function called top count. Top count of how many you want, that is 10 of what measure you want. I mean, what measure wise you want to check the top records. I want to check based on the measured sales amount. So it is giving you the same result. So in other words, top count is equal to order plus head. In the same way, order function plus head function. Order in descending. And the bottom count is one more function, is equal to order in descending plus tail. So the tail function will give me last records, bottom records, and order will order the records in descending order or ascending order. If it is ascending, then you have to take the top head, and if it is descending, you have to take the tail for bottom count, and the same way for top count. For descending, you have to take the head, and for ascending, if you order the records based on ascending, then you have to take the tail. So this is how. Now let's see how the bottom count works. Bottom count of these products or any other measure or any other set, and the number of records and the measure on top on based on which you want to order the data. So if you see this, it is going to give you, it is BOTTOM. It is going to give you last 10 records. All last 10 are null. And how you are going to eliminate these null values and give me the last 10 values which has values, which has not null values. So you can use non-empty without space function to filter out these based on the sales amount. First it will filter out the last 10. No, I run the full query. First it will filter out the last 10 and then it will take the bottom count. First this non-empty function will be executed, and it will filter out all the null values, and then it will pull the last 10 records ordered by sales amount. This is how the top count and the bottom count function works. In the same way, like top count, you have top sum. What top sum will give? For top sum, what you have to do is you have to give some integer value. Let's say I am giving 1, 0, 10, 1000, 10,000 lakh. One lakh is 10 lakhs. Yes. Now I've given some value. If I run this, that is 10 lakhs, and I'm asking the server to give top records for, top n number of records for which the sum will become this much, or it will give the very close value. And let me give some 50 lakhs or so that you can easily understand. Let me take this one out. So if you sum all these four, it will be very close to the value that I have given you. So the top sum means give me the number of records for which the sales amount, the measure amount, whatever you are giving here, the sum will be close to the value that I have given. So this is how the top sum works. In the same way, the bottom sum, the reverse of the top sum. The bottom sum, if you give 50 lakhs, you will get so many records. So let me give 5 lakhs, and see, this sum will form a very close value to the 5 lakhs, whatever the value that I have given. And let's check in an Excel. So take an Excel and I paste it here. If you see, it is 5 lakhs 4,690. So this is how the top sum and the bottom sum works. And there is one more function. You don't, in few cases you want to get top 30% records or not top 10% records. That is top percent I want just 5% of records. How much percent of records you want to give? You want to pull, you have to specify that number here. I want to get top 5% of records. 5% of records is just 2. And if you give 50% of records, it is going to fetch half of the records. So it is 14 records. There are total of 28 records, I guess, for this. So this is how we will pull the top percent, top 50%. No, sorry, I'm extremely sorry. It will return you the data where the sum of the value becomes the 50% of the records. 50% of the total sales amount. For example, if I have a sales amount of if I have a sales amount of 10 million, and if I give 50, then it will give you the number of records which will form 5 million of sales amount. For example, let me show you an example. Now, this is the sales amount when I have a top percent of 50. So it is forming some value, 1,49 lakhs 16,410. Now let me take the bottom percent of say 50. Then it is gonna give me some records which will form the similar amount, very close amount to this. It is giving me 1,51. It is very close. So this is how the top percent and bottom percent work. Top percent means it will take the sum of total sales amount and it will take the 50%, top 50%. Top number of records which will form the 50% of the sales amount. In simple example, let's say I have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 as my sales amount. And if you see the total sales, the sum of these total sum is 55. So what is half of this 55? If I give 50%, if I give 50 as my integer here as the second parameter for the top percent or bottom percent, the 50% of this one is 27 and all. So what forms, if you order first, what forms the 27? How you can get the 27? 10 plus 9, 19, 19 plus 8, 27. It is very close. So it will fetch these 3 records. And if you give bottom percent, these 7 is very close. It is going to form very close number to the 50% of the total amount. So it will fetch the remaining record. This is how the top percent and the bottom percent works. Let's take a quick break for 5 minutes and we'll continue our session after that. Okay, now let's discuss about few more functions or few more concepts of the MDX. You can call it as a different concept. And let me take this query out. I don't want all these functions to be there in my query now. I just want products. And let's say I want non-empty products. I don't want empty products, which has sales amount null. I'm not going to do anything with that. So, without space empty I'm using. I want to filter the products based on sales amount, where the sales amount is null. I don't want to show it. So this is the data. And order, it's not a mandatory at this point of time. Now we are going to discuss about calculations. The most important concept of SSAS, SQL Server Analysis Services. Okay, how to create a calculation? You can create a calculation with this form, with this syntax. With member, give the calculation name as calculation formula. This is how we author. This is the simple calculation syntax. If you want to create a new, add a new calculation to your query, then this is the simplest one. And if you want more, then you can set format string. What format you want to show is equal to some format string. This is the syntax of calculation. And let's see how to create calculations. What all you can do with calculations? I'm writing a simple calculation here. Remember, I'm giving the name as test as I'm taking sales product, sales amount. I'm just displaying the sales amount as is. I'm not doing any divided by 10 or divided by 100. This is a simple calculation. And what I have to do is I have to call that calculation in my rows or columns based on where I'm using the measures hierarchy. I cannot use the same measures hierarchy in two different axes, right? If you create any calculation, then it will be treated as a measure. Whether you give the hierarchy measures or not, it belongs to a measure hierarchy. Now let me run this. It is going to give me as is. There is no change at all. Then why I am creating the calculated measure here? Just because I am creating an alias here, alias to the sales amount. Instead of sales amount, I am creating alias. It's not only useful to create alias. If you want to see this is my sales amount, but I want to show the value divided by 100. It is doing that. And I don't want to do divided by 1005 or something like that. But I want to change it. If you see here, the format string is 100001 so on till 2, and here the third one has 7218 or 5999999 and so on. At the end it is 89. I want to format the string, so I can create a new calculation. Format string is equal to, you can specify hash comma hash dot 00. I think this is a valid expression. For that you have to give comma. That's the end of the formula. If I give comma, that means that's the end of the formula and the format string starts. So if you see, it is formatting in the same format what I have given. And what all formats you can give as part of this format string. It is given, you can get the data from your calculation. So when I create a new calculation, you can see the format strings here. You can use percent, you can use short date, you can use currency, you can use this one, you can use zero simply. And these are all the format strings that you can use. Let me add a simple calculated measure here. I'm not doing anything. I'm just showing the price amount. And if you see the calculated measure, if you see the script, what it has generated for this, it is create member cube, current cube dot measures dot calculated member, whatever the name I have given here, this is the calculated member, as something right, visible set to 1. Now if I give a format string, if I specify some format string here, then you can see that format string got added to the calculated measure. So the same calculated measure you are creating in query while running the query. Okay, this is one way of creating the calculations using create with statement, and there is one more way, that is using create. And I will explain you the difference between creating a calculated measure using writing a calculated measure using create and with. So while writing create, you have to give current cube dot some calculated measure name where you want to create this. That it means I want to create this particular calculated measure in current cube. Okay. This is one way of writing syntax, and let me check that whether it is working fine or not. So no cube specified. A cube must be specified for the command to work. So I've specified the cube name. Now I've given it as current cube. So instead of that, it is asking me to give the cube name. Okay, let me give the cube name here instead of the current cube. It is not able to identify whether it's not the cube name or not. Okay. I see it is executing and execution complete. And I can run this and it is giving me the value. Okay. Now if I try to use with, it is gonna throw me an error saying that this dimension. While writing with, you don't need to specify the cube name. That is one point. And if I run this, it is gonna give me the data. What is the difference between with and create? When you use with, it should be always run with the statement. The complete statement, the with function and the statement should run at the time. Like this. If I run this one alone, it is not going to give me any value. It is going to throw me, it throws an error saying that the end of input was reached. So with member, if you are going to use the with keyword to define a calculated measure, then it should follow with the select statement, and in that select statement only that calculated measure is valid. The scope of that one is query. Until that query ends, it works fine. So always you have to call the complete, the calculated measure, whatever you have defined, and the select statement in which you are using that calculated measure. In other case, the create is not like that. In create, I'm creating this calculated measure to this cube. See, it is saying that a calculated measure cannot be created. A measure with the same name already exists. I executed the calculated measure 2 minutes back. So it is already exists. And if I give calculated measure name as test 1, now it is created. If I call test, it is already created and exists in this one, and test 1 is the freshly created one. In this case, you can write the you can run the select statement separately. No need to join with your create statement or your calculated measure statement. So this is the difference. The scope is the difference. For if you use with, the scope is only the query, so you have to join the query and the calculated measure description. You have to run both at a time. But create, you can create it once and you can run it. You can use it any number of times. Like, let me copy it again here and let me run it. It is going to give me the result. Until what time it is going to run? Until this particular query window only. This is running in this query. sorry, in this window. Until this window, this session will be there. If I take new window and if I run it, the dimension test was not found in the queue when the string test was passed. This test is missing. It is saying the test is not valid. And if I come back and run here, it is giving you this. Until this query window, the scope of this create, the calculated measure which you created using the create keyword is valid. You can use that. Why I need this? Why I need to create a calculated measure? Let's say I have 10 MDX queries that I have to execute one by one. And all the 10 MDX queries is using the same calculated measure. So why I have to create 10 times? Why I have to give it 10 times? I can use create once and I can run all the things in the same window and get the result and do whatever, export, or I can copy into an Excel to analyze the business. I can copy it into Excel. That's the advantage of creating a member or defining a member using create keyword. And there is one more place where we are defining the calculated measure, that is in queue. Here you are defining the calculated measure, here you are creating the calculated measure. The scope of this one is entire cube. Wherever the cube is processed and successful, and if the person has access to the calculated measure, he can access it. He can run it. The scope is the cube level. Wherever you have that access, the perspective level, in other words, you know the perspectives. Perspective means the default one that you have. It's the perspective level. So wherever you create, if you create the calculated measure the cube in the cube bits, then the scope is cube level. So let me summarize this. You can create calculated measures in 3 different places or in 3 different types. One is using with keyword, and another one is using create keyword, and another one is in bits, SQL Server bits. So if you use with keyword, then you don't need to specify the cube name and it is query level scope. And if you use create keyword, you have to give the cube for which you want to create the calculated measure, and that is a query window scope. Wherever you are creating the calculation, it will be valid until the query window closes. And if you create the calculated measure at SSAS bits level, then it is valid until you have until the cube is valid, if you have the access to that particular calculated measure. Now let's see some calculations. Okay, we discussed about current member in last few minutes back. We discussed about current member, and the current member will give whatever it is there at this particular row level. So let's try that. With member, I'm creating a new calculation name, that is I'm giving the name as dim product or products dot current member. So for the first row, the current member is all purpose bytes. For the second row, the current member is AWC logo cap. So I'm giving dot name as it is a string. The current member is a member of SSAS object. You cannot show the member of SSAS object. So I'm trying to show the name of that. And let me call the member, calculated measure here. And oops, yeah. So you can see the current member while executing. See, the calculated measures execute while the query is executing. It is not pre-compiled or pre-calculated one. It calculates when the query is executing. So row level, each and every row. When this row is executing, the dim current member dot name I want to show as part of this name calculated measure, and that's why it is taking this value. So what I can do is, this is fine. This is showing me all products, bike stand, AWC logo cap, bike wash, and classic wash. Now, how to calculate the percentage? this is the sales amount of this particular product and what is the percentage of overall. And let's see how to do that. Before that, let's format the sales amount with, by giving some good formatting type. I'm taking this as sales and I want to display sales amount as is, but I want to format it. Let us go step by step. Format string is equal to hash dot 00 after given some formats. And instead of sales amount, I will refer sales from now onwards. And let's say I don't have name here. So it is looking good now. Two formats. Now I want to add one more calculation. From the second time onwards, you are not going to use with keyword. With keyword, you have to use only once. So from next time onwards, it's member. So what is my requirement now? I have to take the percentage. So for getting the percentage, what I have to get? I have to get the parent value. What is the total sum of these all the products? So how can I get the sum of all the products? I can take the parent value. Parent is all level, and all level means it's sum of all the products. Let's see how to do that. Member total sales as I want to get them. What I want to get? I want to get measures of what? I want to get the measures of team product or product dot. If I give current member, let's see what is going to happen. Dot current member dot sales. I want to get the sum of current member dot sales, and again I'm taking the format string of same one, similar one. So I will call this new measure in my column. So if I try to run this, it is giving me the same amount. Why? Because I'm taking the current member. What is the current member for this row? This is all-purpose bike stand. What is the sales amount of all-purpose bike stand? It is the same. So if I use parent member dot parent sales, now it will give the sales amount of all levels. So if you go back to one level up, that is all aggregated level, I will demonstrate that one to you. If you go to the product here, team product, let me open the team product dimension. Browser, and if you see this is products, the first level is all level and then the product. So if you take the current member in the query, it will give that particular member, that particular product sales. When I take the all, what is there in the all has all the products. It will give the sum of sales of all the products. Now what is my requirement? Member sales percentage is what I want to calculate. How to calculate that? The total sales, sales divided by total sales. Sales is first calculated measure and divided by total sales. And I have to give as here. So if you see this, if you select this, this is giving me some minus into 10 to the power of minus 3 or something like it is giving me. And you know the percentage is, for percentage you have to go for into 100. This is the percentage. 0.13 or 0.06, 2.45% and all. And let me change the format string to this one. I just want two levels, 2 decimal points. So I'm taking this is 0.13%, 0.07%, 0.02% and so on. This is how the percentage calculated. And this is 4%, 4.41, the value is too high, that's why it is 4% of the total sales, 4.64%. So instead of doing into 100, what you can do is you can simply use the format string. If you use percent as format string, it will take you, it will give you only two decimals, and it will do into 100 to the value, and it will concatenate percentage symbol at the end, like this. This is looking good, right? And now let me try to order the values, order the products based on the sales, on the percentage, sales percentage. Order this one based on sales amount, and let me give descending percentage, and let's see how it looks. It is giving me descending percentage. The first one is higher sales, this one, and that is 4.68%. This is how you can create calculations. And as I'm explaining, and as you are new to this MDX, I've created 3 different calculated measures for this one. And if you get experience in this one, then you're gonna write only one calculated measure, that is percentage, or any name give any name here. And let's see how to write the same calculation single one. That is the sales amount, anyhow it will split and give. Sales amount, where is that sales amount? This is our sales amount, the original measure, divided by sum of this one, sum of this parent of sales, comma, format string is percent. So instead of 3 different calculated measures, I have written it in 1. So it is giving me the same thing. So this is how you can write calculations. You can make use of all the functions what we discussed till now to write calculations in MDX, or even you can write the same calculation here at cube level. Let's say I'm writing the same calculation, nothing changed, just as is. I'm copying the calculation here. That is sales amount divided by products dot current member dot parent dot sales amount, and the format is percent here. And non-empty behavior, what I'm using to divide it by, that is sales amount. We discussed about this non-empty behavior in our earlier sessions. And let me select the sales amount and see how this is gonna work. If you go to the browser, and erasing everything, I'm taking the sales amount just for our reference, and this is the calculated measure what I've given. It is giving me some error here. Okay, that is fine. If I drag and drop the product, we have used the function dot current member of products. So the product should be there in the rows. Then only it will give you the proper value. In the denominator, you have given like dot parent, but the current member is null when I don't have this. What is the current member from the product? There is nothing, so it is null. So some value, sales amount value divided by null of 0 is this error. So you have to drag the products in order to get the calculated percentage. So this is how the calculations you can create. You can write calculations in three different ways. One with using the keyboard width, and another one with create, and another one at SSAS reads. And this is a simple calculation, and you can write many calculations like this. You can calculate the difference between this value and this value just by, I will explain you how to take the difference between two values with a simple calculation. Remember, difference as, what's the first case? The first case is current member sales minus, sorry, it should be here, minus dot next member sales. So what it will do? The next number will give the next number that is there in the list. And let's see how this is gonna work. How this is gonna give you output. Okay, we process the cube, so it is saying the current session is no more valid. So I've taken the new one. So if you see the difference between this and this, it should be some 34006 something. So this is how we can do that. This is how you can calculate the difference. What I've done is the same functions what we discussed in last session. I use the same functions, and first of all I have to set my requirement clearly, and I have to split the requirement, and I have to write a map how to get the requirement, how to achieve the requirement, and then I have to proceed in giving the functionality for the defining the functionality for the calculation, what the formula I have to use, what functions I have to use, and how I have to proceed. I have to make sure of everything before writing a calculation. And let's stop it here, and in next session we are going to discuss about the most important functions of MDX, that is time and date functions. So catch you in next session.